Two men journey to the bars and restaurants of Scandinavia to find amazing beers, always with the same question.
Hey, what's on tap?
It's time to find out.
What's on Tap podcast, coming live, special U.S. edition.
Back home.
Yes, I guess back home. Doesn't feel like home anymore, really. I mean, I don't feel like you could say it.
You son of a bitch.
Well,
You've only been gone for like 15 years.
I've been gone for 10 years, and Dallas has changed so much that it doesn't even feel like the place I knew, you know?
Is it a good change or a bad change?
I would say for the better. It feels like Dallas finally has, developed culture.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was always, you went to Fort Worth for culture, and then you came here for business purposes.
Right.
Yeah.
What?
It has neighborhood
it's
development
had
and stuff, too.
culture. I think it's just more easily accessible now.
That's probably true. We have islands of culture in the stream.
Yeah.
It's nice to have definitive neighborhoods, which you didn't really have before.
Right, you did not have that 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So, in the 20 years that I've been associated with Dallas, there were, Bishop's Arts was just starting to become something.
Right.
And, nobody ever came over to White Rock, right? I could never say
White Rock Lake.
Yes, White Rock Lake area was also just starting to get redeveloped and become something, and the Carne Asada neighborhood, what is it called? Casalinda. I mean, that was
Carne Asada.
That was on the lower side. So this whole neighborhood area has really kind of come alive in the past decade. Whereas before, you really just had the urban flight out to the suburbs and beyond.
White flight.
And and so. Now everybody's moving back in about the same time as I left and redeveloping everything.
And people are flying still, so you have the combo deal.
We still have white flight. No doubt. So the better question is, how was Arkansas? Was it still stuck in 1950?
No, honestly. Here's the deal. The area I grew up in northeast Arkansas, which is kind of the Delta farming community. My mom doesn't live in that area anymore. My brother lives in Fayetteville. So I went to go visit him, which is in northwest Arkansas, the complete opposite side of the state. And that is actually quite progressive and interesting. And there's a ton of breweries around the area, and they're doing some pretty interesting and really good things.
So they're still doing sharecropping in the east, but in the west.
Exactly. Yeah. So when you got the University of Arkansas, Tyson Food, Walmart money up in the northwest corner, and then you have the grain farmer, cotton farmers, rice farmers in the Delta region. So
gotcha.
It's a little bit of a disparity of incomes. But I listened to your last podcast, the last Brew Bloods episode, after the 30-minute non-drinking rant, which I thought, that's what every podcast wants. And then you tried the Nanny State.
Right.
And I have to say, the only reason I gave you that one was because Dustin was so excited about trying it.
Yes.
It's really one of the worst non-alcohol beers that you can get.
It's really bad,
McKellar makes two amazing ones. One's a Berliner Weiss. That's a raspberry Berliner Weiss. It's so freaking good. And the other one is just like a pale ale called Drinking in the Sun. And it's really, really good.
Yeah, Nanny State was terrible. Don't ever drink that.
I wish we had more better options here. It seems like all the non-alcoholic beers here are all lagers or lager-based.
That's used to the way that it used to be. I just saw that Tool is putting out a non-alcoholic beer, and it's like some sort of crazy Brettanomyces IPA of some sort. I'm just like, holy shit.
I wonder if that's the new frontier after hazy IPAs, non-alcoholic beers.
I think it's probably getting developed more and more in different areas. I think people are, like you said, they should just drink water, but you just get tired of drinking water after a while. And you want something else besides water. So you want a nice low alcohol or non-alcohol beer, and that's really you're seeing develop.
Can't fault them. No, especially in this heat. Could you imagine drinking water? Anything heavier than 5% or something like that? Beer wise.
I'm saying, can you imagine drinking water?
None of that. That is the worst. Fish pee in it. Nobody wants that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We had all the diarrhea come from Plano because we had a sewage spillover in Plano.
All right.
It came down White Rock Creek into White Rock Lake. 1 million gallons of diarrhea from Plano into Dallas. So
Also known as raw sewage, but I'm sure there was some diarrhea.
it's a lot of diarrhea and tampons.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I really appreciate the what's happening in Dallas kitchen moment.
Yeah.
For all you Europeans out there,
My international listeners also greatly appreciate that and that update. But I will say I'm really sorry to hear that you guys are no longer podcasting as far as doing beer podcast. And as we know, the break room is on another indefinite hiatus.
yeah, pretty much. It has been for a while.
And we'll come back in another 5 years.
Give it, say, 2045.
Yeah,
We'll come
yeah.
back.
You never know.
Yeah. And Dustin, I'm going to miss your spot on impression of me. It's, I'm just like, holy crap, I didn't know I was in the room that day. And I'm just like, oh no, it's just Dustin doing
What about
his
his
voice.
Trump impression?
That could hold over to our new show.
Yeah, okay.
That's true.
Yeah.
Stefan will be on episode 1 of the new show, so you can keep that going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
You just keep getting
We say
Brewer's back.
Stefan in quotes.
Yeah, we could have
It'll
dueling
just be me
Stefans.
talking like
Yeah.
this.
It's just two voices. All right, well.
And we also have Javi here, by the way.
Oh, yeah, Javi.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I
Yeah,
forgot.
no, you're good.
Ignore
I
it.
just-
Yeah, I thought
Just
it
a
was
quiet, handsome one.
Yeah. Bringing up the sexual quotient in the room.
Yeah, exactly.
It's getting hot in her. So I brought over a couple of beers from Sweden. So this episode we're going to try 2 Swedish beers. And then we're going to do a follow-up episode where we do 2 Texas beers.
All right.
So to start out with, we have what was this? Starman Double Dry Hop Double IPA from Brewski in Helsingborg, Sweden. And it comes in at 8% alcohol by volume. No additives inside, so keep it real. That's on the label. Should I read the packaging?
If you want to.
There's a starman waiting in the sky. He'd like to come and meet us, but he thinks he. Okay, blah blah blah. I'm not reading.
We're just on your show.
I think
to
you
help
know-
I'm not
interesting-
reading. I'm not reading Bowie lyrics on the show. I'm
I'm
sorry.
pretty sure you picked it for the guy on the front, which bears a striking resemblance to myself.
I did. I was just like, oh, he's got glasses and a beard and slightly balding. It's all there, man.
Yeah.
And he's in a recliner, so it was really just.
It's pretty much my life, except
Yeah.
in the stars. Yeah.
All right. Wow, that does kind of look like you, actually.
I told you.
Yeah.
Well, this is a really juicy.
It smells lactosey.
Lactosey. I mean,
Just smell a mimosa.
it does. It smells
Yeah,
like
citrusy in
orange
there, too.
juice and passion fruit.
I'm
and
smelling
pineapple
more.
and-
Yeah, I'm more so, smelling the citrus than the than the.
Really? I smell
Lactose.
like
I second
fresh
Javi.
squeezed cow into this.
The second hobby. It smells very citrusy to me.
Yeah,
With
this
like
is
a- with
super
a-
citrus.
With a
Yeah.
popcorn fart of citrus. It's just a
No,
heavy,
this is like
heavy odors in
heavy
glass.
citrus.
Major
heavy
citrus.
citrus with a very light.
Yeah.
I threw you
lactosey.
wrong.
And the color is just. It is textbook hazy IPA.
Oh yeah, it's
that's
thick. It's like mud water. It's like Red River mud water. It's
Is it?
you
It's
can't
like
even
the
see
poop
it.
water that was coming
It
down
is.
the.
It is
It
quite
is.
opaque.
Yeah.
It's
Coming
like the
down the
diarrhea
creek.
water coming
Yeah.
down the creek, except in a lighter shade.
Exactly.
Now, there is some sedimentation in the bottom of the bottle, so I don't know if that's from actual yeast or it's probably whatever adjunct they use to make it the haziness. A lot of times you'll see that kind of settle out when you have to re-agitate it. Then it
Yeah.
kind of. Omnipollo makes a double IPA called a Fenta Morgana, and after that sits on the shelf for about a week or two, you start seeing it's a color shift from the top of the bottle down to the bottom, where all of the haziness is settled out, and you got to kind of
Okay.
agitate it a little bit to kind of get it to reactivate. But it's
I was asking if
quite
they
nice.
told you to remix it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, cheers, guys.
Yeah. Cheers.
That is not what I expected it to taste like.
What did you expect it to taste like?
Not like sweaty socks.
Sweaty socks. All right.
I mean, I'll be honest. I'm not getting much. It's like a pretty flat flavor. You know, it just kind of it stays in your tongue. It lingers there, but it's not like. Oh, you get a little bit more citrus on the front,
Yeah.
and then something else on the back. It's just. Plain.
I mean,
getting-
it's
yeah.
sharply bitter up front.
Getting a wave of pine. That's
Yeah,
basically what I'm getting.
it's dry. I mean,
Yeah.
it just drops as soon as you swallow it. It's like boom, it's gone.
And typically with, did you say this is a milkshake IPA or not? No.
I think I'm thinking of a different one. There was a
Just
Halo.
Northeast?
There was a Halo
Okay.
IPA they put out at the same
I'm
time.
saying because this is not. I mean, there's
No.
a little bit of sweetness there. It's in the back end.
Yeah.
It's
Well, from
very,
the-
very much receded. It's very
from
bitter
the,
up front.
from
though.
the smell, I would have thought it was going to be a much sweeter because it
Oh,
just
yeah.
smelled very, I think, very juicy.
Yeah. I thought there'd be a little citrusy. to it. Man, it is.
I mean, honestly,
resiny.
this beer feels like a lie.
It's resiny.
it's like
Yeah.
The cake
the
is a
smell.
lie.
Yeah, the smell doesn't prepare you for what you're about to drink.
It's very. It reminds me of old cigarettes.
Old cigarettes.
Like
It reminds me of a dive bar.
Compared
yes,
to
dive
Newsom.
bar.
That's-
yes,
that's-
you're
yeah.
absolutely right. Old cigarettes.
Yeah.
It's kind of a wet cigarette smell, like old cigarette burned into fabric, like that. It like the smell to taste translation.
It's like a ceiling tile from a dive bar.
yeah, it's like a ceiling tile from a dive bar. Yeah,
It's interesting. I don't know that I have that.
or maybe an old cushion.
But as a flavor.
an old cushion at a strip club that used to be a smoking joint. It's got all kinds of bodily fluids and cigarettes just burned into it, and like maybe a slight hint of.
We're way too heavy on the bodily fluids in this episode.
Yeah,
Well, you just joined the party. I mean, it's early.
Ooh.
this is the collaboration between Brewski and Friends Company Brewing, which I've never heard of before.
Sounds like a fake made-up name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably is. They probably made that up.
I gotta say, I can't remember the name of the last Brewski beer we had that you came. The last time you came around
Yeah.
was that 2 years ago, maybe 3. Anyways, I forget which one that was, but that I remember being just a knockout of the park.
Okay.
That's an American baseball term. For
Yes, it
those
is.
of you not familiar.
For your international
This
listeners.
one I would never drink again. It's just it does not meet my palate. If you like, this reminds me a lot of when we were in Vegas the last time and we had Angel City Brewing.
Yeah, Angel City, yeah.
Yeah.
That beer was far worse than this because that was like drinking
You know,
out of liquefied cigarettes.
That one was bad, actually.
Do
But-
you get a little bit of a hop burn from this as well?
Yeah, like it's.
Yeah, I'm wondering if.
It reminds me of a dry cider in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, this
Like,
has
not in
this
good
has a
way.
shelf life for until 2019, which is extremely long.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if they didn't anticipate this to sit a little bit longer before it was drank. Because that
I mean, but-
that hop burn in the back of the throat, that would
Yeah.
recede over in probably another month or so.
But also, I mean, if you're like most beers that can age well are also good to go fresh. If you have to wait X amount of time to get your beer to taste good, that feels like a weird flaw.
What happens? What's happening in Europe in particular is they're trying to, and this happens I think in the Northeast as well. When you're trying to rush to market with these like fresh double dry hop, IPAs or whatever, they put them out on the market, and as soon as they ferment, they're on the shelf, and then they're out, and they're so raw still. They haven't had time to mature in the can or on the keg or whatever. And so when you get them, it's just this like it just burns down your throat because it's so hoppy.
Yeah.
But then when you let it sit for like 3 weeks, which would be like a normal packaging time from the brewery to the store shelf, then it becomes like something really incredible.
So maybe this will be better after a few weeks of aging.
Maybe I think it will. Yeah, I think the smell and the hoppiness there's something there, but I don't think it's developed enough here to really give it a high review because this is pretty harsh.
The smell, I would say, far outweighs the taste.
Yes.
If those two could merge, maybe we'd have a better
Yeah,
product.
if that
Yeah.
citrusy flavor comes out
Yeah.
to match the aroma, and
Yeah.
after the resiny, piney burn goes away, then
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, no, so I really, like I said, I think that give it, I don't know, another 4 weeks, it'll probably be pretty good. But right now, this is harsh. This is wrong.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you edit this?
No.
No.
Why?
You say, do you want me to pause it so I can wash out these glasses?
Oh, we can pause it while I wash out the glasses. That's no problem.
Yeah.
All right.
Like I hide nothing from the listeners. I respect them far too much. Matter of fact, we can just talk and bullshit while you watch out the glasses.
All right. You guys
Yeah.
feel
That's
free to
it's
pause.
just content.
He's such a good host. Though.
Yeah.
He really is.
So what have you guys been drinking recently? I've been on I've been here a week, almost 2 weeks now, and I've drank a lot of beers.
Yeah.
I don't know if you followed my Untapped check-ins, but there's usually somewhere between 4 to 5 a night.
I
I
follow you on
appreciate
Twitter, so
both
it's
your
more.
drinking
Yeah.
and your ability to go to the gym on vacation.
Yeah, I've gone a couple of times. I haven't gone as often as
I mean, but
want.
that's still like 2 more times that I probably would
Yeah.
do, you know? Yeah, I actually busted my elbow, so I'm like, I can't work out as much as I would like to now.
that's
So
tough.
I'm like, I'm only doing cardio, which,
Yeah.
and leg day, which is like the worst part of working out.
Yeah.
for me. But, I've been drinking, honestly, like, a lot of rough tail brewing
Okay.
stuff. What is it? Everything Rhymes with Orange. It's like basically like hazy IPAs. 'Cause
Okay.
honestly, like right now, really my drinking's been relegated to range water, which is the Topo Chico, which is a Mexican mineral water for the international listeners, and some lime juice and tequila, and it's like all things considered pretty good,
Yeah.
refreshing. Beer has just been like super heavy, and but
Yeah.
all these rough tail brewing beers have been pretty good and refreshing, especially in this heat.
I did
it's
not
just
care for their
miserable.
original e-juice, I have to say.
I thought it was alright.
Yeah, e-juice is fine.
I just didn't. I don't know. I heard the latter one. Was it you that was telling me about that, or
Maybe.
somebody was telling me? No, I think maybe it was Stefan that was telling me the e-juice you had recently.
Yeah, it was
Was-
like a creamsicle-y kind of thing.
Yes.
And it was quite nice. I liked it. I liked it quite a bit. I had it on tap at craft beer cellar,
Right.
Oh, okay.
and it was.
You were just there like 5 minutes ago.
Well, they didn't have it on.
I know, but I'm saying you couldn't remember the name of the establishment. You were just at 5 minutes ago.
Dude, I'm getting old, man.
You're a
My
terrible.
memory is-
You are a terrible patron.
I barely remember being here. And
Now-
I'm here currently.
You did drink a beer that I really liked recently that I saw you checked in, which was
that-
Blueberry Boyfriend. I thought that was,
That was
really
really
good.
nice. I had to cut it twice, and I think I liked it better the second time.
Just speaking of light summery beers, that's a
Yeah.
very good choice
Yeah.
for that.
Oh, I will say, I did on Thursday. What is it, on Sunday? Went to Fort Worth for my culture to see the Takashi Murakami exhibit.
Oh
And
yeah, I
was-
saw that. It looked amazing.
It looks so good. And afterwards, so the reason why we were going is because Martin House, a Fort Worth brewery, was saying they'd come up with this IPA that's like brewed with Dr. Pepper, and I'm like, fuck yeah, Dr. Pepper, let's do this. And then we couldn't find that post on Facebook anymore, and we're like, shit, I don't think that they're gonna have it. Turns out they don't. They sold out that first night, and then they erased the post for whatever
Because
reason.
there were
I
like,
thought,
people coming in and harassing him over this beer.
but
Yeah.
it wasn't too terrible because then we went to Collective Brewing Project to their tap room.
Yeah.
So they specialize more in like really funky like sours,
Yeah.
Stuff knows.
saisons, farmhouse
You have the
ales.
they're golden sour.
Yeah. You sent me two of their beers,
the
the
ramen.
ramen one
They
and
did a
then
couple
the,
new
The
ones.
ramen one is surprisingly good.
They're green.
It's maybe it's better on tap because I did not care for it in the
Oh.
bottle.
The green. Kick, no,
It tastes. It had kind of a gose.
Well, it's a
Man,
gose.
they had so many of them when we went
Goza.
there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but they were all pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. They had one called Matcha Do About Nothing, which was a matcha IPA that was really good. And
Was it nutty like it should be?
what?
Like matcha should be nutty, slightly nutty.
No, not.
Wait, am I thinking of the? I'm thinking of maca, not matcha. Sorry.
Yeah, matcha is like a green tea.
I'm thinking
Yeah.
of maca, the nut.
Yeah,
Okay.
South American nut.
No. And I will say, so the not to just talk smack about Martin House, but they did have a series of blueberry, peaches, and cherries and cream taproom only beers that were delicious. Weirdly enough, the blueberry was green. I don't know why. Cherry was pink. Peach was kind of like a lighter pink, but they were all delicious.
Did they
I'd
do
highly
the
recommend
cookies and cream too? Was that
Huh?
them? The cookies and cream
Yeah.
combo, was that them?
Yeah, that was
Okay.
them.
I've yet to have a bad beer by Martin House.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I still
they did
wish they had
the Salty Lady, right?
Salty Lady
I
and
did
all
that, and then
variants.
did the raspberry one,
Yeah.
and I meant to look for them. I couldn't remember the brewery. As soon as you said that, I was like, "That's who
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
going to look
You
for."
should get any of their like their lady variations or because they have
They have the amped up salty lady that's
Yeah.
pretty good too.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Before we move on, we didn't rate the Starman Double Dry Hop.
What's your rating scale?
0 to 5.
0 to 5.
Yeah.
I would give it probably a 2.
yeah,
2. All right.
That's fair.
two.
Yeah. I think two all around definitely feels right.
Yeah.
All right. So next beer we have is the Amurga from Omnipollo, which is their black butter vanilla volcano salt mocha maple white chocolate ganache.
Ooh.
Comes in at 11% ABV by volume.
Good luck distinguishing one ingredient from another, or one taste from another.
Right. Omnipollo has been doing some like crazy, like weird combination beers where they just like they came out with this one. It was a cheeseburger and fries double IPA where they threw in cheeseburgers and fries into the mash and they just boiled it all. And
That sounds disgusting.
I've
Sounds
heard
unsanitary.
I've heard that it was really good, but I was like, that just sounds like a horrible gimmick beer. And
Yeah.
for me, a lot of what Omnipollo's been doing has just been more and more stunt beers of trying to like, how many crazy ass things can they put together to create a beer.
It's like an amped up dogfish.
Is that where we're left to go with craft beer? You know what I mean? Like, is it just weird, gimmicky stuff?
No, I think there's certain brewers that like really go for like a real purity of style.
Sure.
And they create like these amazing, just simple beers that just really hit all the right notes. And then you've got other brewers that are like constantly trying to one up themselves with what kind of crazy ass bullshit can they come up with and put into a craft beer.
I mean, I will say one of the good things about the gimmicky beers, I imagine, is that it helps them in general learn even more about the brewing process, because it's not like, any home brewer, it's not like they're going to do a burger and fries.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I guess there is some benefit to it for sure. But
they're not going to throw pieces of the surfboard in a beer.
Right. But that is something that I feel like I'm seeing a lot more. Like, I feel like before, remember those, who did the Viagra beer?
That was Brewdog.
Brewdog, yeah. Like, I feel like I heard a little bit about those, and it feels like it just keeps on coming up.
I still have that, and I guarantee it's terrible.
I did too, and I ended up throwing it out. That was for the
gotta be like 5 years ago.
for the wedding of Kate and Diana's kid.
Yeah.
Whichever one that was.
Yeah.
One of those two.
The older brother.
Yes, yes. Princess Diana the elder.
No, I'm saying the older brother.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Her spawn the elder.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
William. There we go.
William, sure.
what do you get off of this one?
It's a complex name.
All these flavors together, it smells.
I smell the alcohol a lot.
Yes.
I smell the salt.
Like for me, it just smells like sweet and maybe a little licoricey and
Really, I smell like
I'm smelling a salted caramel.
Yeah, salted caramel.
You know what it is? It's like one of those fancy chocolates with like caramel, salt, and then like a lot of booze.
I smell like a baking chocolate.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, caramel. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Caramel and
Toasted
liquor.
caramel.
Yeah.
It's very nutty.
Yeah.
And I smell a little bit of salt in there. Which I would hope so, given that the primary component is volcano salt.
It is volcano salt.
Yeah, better be. I don't know what a ganache tastes like. I've never had a ganache because I'm not that fancy. So
just like
you're a fancy man. What does
chocolate,
ganache taste
It's
like?
just chocolate, right? Yeah.
It's chocolate. Yeah.
All right, I'm not fancy enough to have chocolate.
chocolate.
To have ganache.
Is it like fondant?
Toblerone? I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, cheers, guys.
Cheers.
It's really oily.
Yeah, this is pretty much a standard Omnipollo mouthfeel
very viscous.
and style. It's their stouts are really thick and meaty, I
really
guess you could
flat.
say. Yeah. They don't overcarbonate for sure.
Yeah.
And this thing is typical. I mean, it doesn't carbonate at all. It's really just about the thick richness of the mouthfeel for their stouts.
I'll say that this is like, even though like you guys said it's oily and viscous and whatnot, it definitely like leaves your tongue right away, but then it also leaves a lot of flavors lingering in there and kind of just develops.
Well, it's interesting if you look at it in the glass comparing to oil. I mean, if you look at it received in the glass, it's just like the viscosity of oil. It's just like it slowly recedes back into its original position. It's very oil-like for sure.
Yeah, this is bottled on the 12th of December, 2017, and it's best before the 15th of December, 2022.
Okay.
So,
Well within
yeah,
range.
it really does remind me of like those like booze-filled fancy chocolates, that you can get.
That's true.
It's kind of like the vibe I'm getting.
It's slightly burned toasty.
Yep.
Very, like, in that respect, bitter.
There's a lot of bitterness here.
Yeah, more than
And
I
I'm
would
amazed
expect.
that it's not like any kind of it's not barrel-aged, is it?
No.
I feel like there would be some of that.
it kind of feels like there should be a little barrel aged, and I kind of get a
Right.
bit of a
I think it might be better for that.
yeah. And what's weird is, well, it's got a lot of stuff on the label. I don't know that I could definitively pick out any of those tastes.
No.
Like the maple isn't really there. It's not particularly salty.
There's no one flavor that stands out.
Yeah. I mean,
Other than burned.
the vanilla's kind of there, and chocolate and like kind of a coffee note from the roastiness.
Yeah, that's a prevailing note I would give it is
Chocolate and
burned
coffee.
It reminds me, honestly, of Starbucks. Like Starbucks coffee.
I could see that.
Whether you see that as a positive or negative,
Yeah.
that's what it reminds me of, is Starbucks
Yeah,
I'm
coffee.
going to
think it
channel my
tastes-
inner Travis and be like, ugh.
I don't think it tastes that burnt, but
it does remind me of that smell that's like you walk in any Starbucks and they all have the same smell of that lightly burned smell. That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
I do like the sweet roasted flavor in the finish. Like when you just sit in for a minute and kind of feel it on your tongue. For me, it's got a really nice, pleasant, rounded roastiness to it.
It's got an antiseptic quality too,
Yeah.
like Band-Aids.
We're just full of pleasant descriptors.
Yeah.
I know.
You want to go for that visceral listening experience.
Yeah, well, it is. That's what it is. It like on the back end, it's very bandage-like, hospital-esque.
I don't know.
Astringent? Is that the word you're looking
Astringent,
for?
perhaps.
No.
I'm looking for other words. I'm using my big boy thesaurus.
Yeah.
Band-Aid-like. It's a little bit medicinal in the back end, but it's better than the last beer. I'll say that.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And
yeah.
I think this one could stand to do with probably another year's worth of aging on it.
Yeah, I had
to mellow it
this
a little bit.
I had this when it first came out, and I got to admit, I was not that happy with it. It
And
was kind of like just a mess, and definitely had more of a ashy kind of flavor to it. But this is
And I could see how that would
gotten
be
a lot better.
If you got a fresh release, I could see how the ash, that burn quality, probably presents itself quite strongly
Yeah.
in the beginning. So when was this? Does it say when it was bottled?
Yeah,
December 2017.
2017. Okay. So we've had a good 7 months
Yeah.
ish
Sure.
for it to
and that's the
age.
thing with a lot of Omnipollo stuff is it falls off really fast.
Yeah.
Like if you don't drink it, if you want to like experience the flavors that they put into it, you got to drink it pretty fresh because
Yeah.
after 6 months to a year, I mean, most of those flavors just fall off
Yeah.
incredibly fast.
That's unfortunate because it feels like they put so much thought into
Yeah.
into it. I would say so. One of the things that I used to do way back when barrel aged was like the big hype was sometimes if I just couldn't find it, like remember Rar's Snowmageddon, you know,
Yeah.
I would just put line my glass with a little bit of bourbon, and then pour the beer in to give it that kind of flavor.
Yeah.
I think this would benefit for something like that for sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised because they usually do like a barrel aged edition of a lot of their stuff. They have one that's a marshmallow style called Hypnopampa that they do a rum barrel aged edition on. That's really really good.
Nice.
And they have another one called crap, I can't remember what it's called now, but it's a toasted coconut stout that they do a barrel age on. That's really really good too.
Cool.
All right. So, any other thoughts about this one?
I would rate this one probably 3 out of 5. I could stand to do with some more aging on it.
Yeah, maybe.
Or
I think
more
it's smooth
freshness, really.
Yeah.
Or
really
conversely,
is.
I don't know. I don't want it to taste like fresh. So
Either it's too early or it's too late. We're not
Yeah.
sure yet.
Yeah.
It's supposed to go through 2022, though, right? That's how.
Yeah, and it'll be fine,
Yeah.
up until then. It's going to just become a little less interesting as it goes on. Because like I said, I've had a lot of Omnipollo stuff, and then you let it age out, like even 8 months or so, and it just really drops in a lot of their flavors. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say for me, I think 3 is fair too, because it's a little bit better than the other one, but it's not phenomenal. So
Okay.
yeah, that's probably good.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd say, honestly, I'm going with my heart and say 2.5. It's just like, it's not that great.
No.
I'm glad that we're having a small portion of it.
Yeah, I have to
Appreciate you doing
agree.
it.
It's for me, it's better than when I first had it, but it's still not something I really would ever try to go for again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to give it around a 3 as well.
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay, well, guys, thanks for joining this episode, and you can find us online at what'sontappodcast.com, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, iTunes, etc., etc. So until next time, drink up.